Hello YouTube, this is Zach, and today I'm going to be analyzing Phantom Siita's medley, Fleeting Lullaby. This was a recommendation. A lot of Auto fans have told me to check this out, and my editor brought it to me and said I might want to give it a look. I have no idea what it is. I just know it's like a quartet of girls. I don't know anything about their singing. I don't know anything about it. Auto has something to do with this. Maybe you all can tell me in the comments. Anyway, let's get right to it and see what we got. I'm a singing teacher. I react, but I do more teaching than I do reacting. So, bear with me. Let's see this. I always love these first take performances. They're always really good. Everything I've analyzed has always been really good. Get some really good stuff out of singing.
はじめまして、私たちファントムシータです。桃色担当のモナです。白色担当のミユです。紫色担当のリンカです。水色担当のモカです。
So what's the purple
私たちは歌い手のアドさんがプロデュースしているレトロホラーをコンセプトとしたアイドルです。本日はプロデューサーのアドさんと私たちファントムシータの楽曲をメドレーで披露させていただきます。それでは。
Okay, yeah. I don't know what any of this means. Tell me in the comments. No idea what any of that means.
一人ぼっちにはキヤキンなのつながっていたいの女子無垢な思いのままララリサベビ消えなしみなようなハピネス君の耳の奥へほみぐ逃げてダメを浴びてただつついさないただつつるストップライフありあれな照らないよね
Sounds very auto. Okay, so first, yeah, like I said, this sounds a lot like Auto. Firstly, the reason I went at the beginning, I wonder if she had a starting pitch in her ear because she jumped right in on the pitch from the beginning. So that means she's either like something gave her a cue pitch at some point, or she has perfect pitch. I don't know. Auto doesn't really do this when I've listened to her in the past, but a lot of Japanese singers, particularly female Japanese singers, kind of had this really bright frontal. Almost edgy sound when they sing. Apparently it's something that's kind of stylistic, because I don't really hear a lot of that sound outside. I mean, I guess I hear some of it in K-pop as well, but I really hear it predominantly when I listen to Japanese music. Maybe you all in the comments can explain to me a little bit. Maybe if there's like a cultural implication or reason that some of the singers sing with this kind of higher pitched, brighter tone. I don't know why. I mean, I've just heard it. So maybe you guys can enlighten me a little bit about that. Typically that sound comes from a higher laryngeal position, the larynx being like the voice box. The larynx is kind of moving up, and the pharynx, which is the back of the mouth, is kind of a little bit flatter, and it kind of gives it this edgy kind of thing. Obviously, I don't sound like them, but it gives it that kind of a bright, shiny, edgy sound, right? That's like, it sounds like it's on the tip of your lips. That's typically what's going on when you make that sound. So it's like high larynx, low pharyngeal position. It actually runs very contrary to what we do a lot in like Western classical singing. That's my background, is in bel canto opera, that kind of thing, where we're taught to lower the larynx, raise the pharynx, and create this like open, spacious sound. So it's like a totally like dichotomous contrast to what we do in like my musical background. Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with it. It just creates an extremely different sound. The music's obviously very upbeat. It makes me think of Auto, but apparently this was produced by Auto, or Auto had something to do with it, so I wouldn't be surprised. She definitely does a lot of that jumping up into the high range, doing the vocal effect thing that Auto does. I would say not quite to the extremes that Auto does, at least so far that I've heard, but bright timbre, high larynx, low pharynx, really shiny, shimmery sound that seems kind of idiomatic for this style in the genre. Good voice though. A lot of blue notes. Okay, I don't know anything about rap. The accompaniment very interesting. It's got that like saxophone like kind of blaring thing, and it has this almost swing kind of feel to it. So it's interesting because when I listen to the vocal line sounds like it's kind of it's a square rhythm. It has like the triplet thing going on where it's like da 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 da. But it doesn't have that kind of backbeat sound that you typically get when you hear like full on swing music. Da 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 da. It's a little edgier, a little more square sounding. But her note choices are very much in the blue note realm, where you hear that da, that kind of thing. Like that's a very much using a blue note. Blue notes are kind of like notes that sort of sit in between, you know, where the right note is. I mean, that's a kind of a weird term, but like when you talk about jazz and you talk about, you know, like Western music and music theory, blue notes are notes that are like kind of bridging the gap of right and wrong, and they kind of sound a little bit soulful, and you know they give it that kind of pull, you know, that oh, that's like a blue note sound. So
river, cry me a river, I cried a river over you.
She did a lot of the blue notes. The timbre actually got a little less edgy as it went on. The timbre, the quality of the sound, it got a little more open sounding as it went on. She's got a good voice. The voice has a really pure, honest tone. It doesn't sound like it's honest maybe is the wrong word. It sounds genuine. I mean, at the beginning it sounded like she was trying to create this like sort of affect, but as she kept singing, it started sounding a little bit more like what would be representative of her real voice, I think. Not that either are better than the other, but it's just, as it went on, it had a little bit more of an honest sound. So let's keep going. I've never really listened to anything quite like this before, so I'm kind of taking it in as I go. A lot of onsets. It's very low. Low. What am I watching? What is this? It's crazy. What have I fallen into with this video? This is a little graphic. I try to keep my music kid friendly. This is a little graphic. What is this? I guess this has turned into more of a reaction video than an analysis video, because stylistically, actually, the two voices are pretty similar. They have a pretty similar timbre, pretty similar approach to singing. The girl on the right, I think that the one difference that I heard from the first girl is that she used a lot more flipping up into her head voice. She kind of moves up into that up there a lot more, into that headier sound. She does that quite a bit more than the first girl did. But other than that, they're actually approaching vocalization pretty similarly. It's interesting. One thing that was really interesting, I want to see if I can go back to it. Okay, we're at 2:50. I want to see if I can remember this timestamp. Yeah, so I haven't talked about onsets much in this channel in a long time, but an onset is the way that you begin a word that starts with a vowel. Like for the letter O, they're going oh, and since is a vowel, it has an onset. So when you listen to them repeat this you're hearing an example of onsets. Well, there's three types of onsets. You have glottal onsets, aspirate onsets, and modal onsets. A glottal onset is when you go and make that kind of popping sound. A lot of people in popular music do that, honestly, and it's pretty bad for your voice. It's something that you do not want to do much. You want to clear that kind of thing up if you can. The aspirate onset is if you go, so if they went, put some air in front of it. It's not terribly unhealthy, but you don't want to do it too much. It's not very efficient with your air. And then there's the modal onset, where it sounds like the vowel just kind of comes out of thin air. So I want you guys to listen to this over and over again. That was kind of a mix between a modal and a glottal. It wasn't full-on glottal, because a lot of times when you hear a full-on glottal onset, you'll hear this like popping sound at the beginning, and you didn't quite hear that here. So it wasn't like, I would not call this something that I would be, you know, terrified of her doing over and over again. But yeah, whenever you sing vowels, like words that begin with vowels, you want to try to make the vowels sound like they come out of thin air. And the reason for it is kind of beyond the scope of this video, but to put very simply, when your vocal cords touch together, there's air that comes from underneath. And the timing of when those vocal folds come together in conjunction with the air determines the type of onset that you use. And a modal onset is when it all comes together at the same time. Glottal is when the folds close early, and aspirate is where the folds close late. That's why you want everything to be timed all together. And so I just pointed that out because there were just so many onsets all at once. I just wanted to, use this as an example. Let's get back to where we were, because this is like I said, this is this is not very kid friendly. I don't know what I'm watching here. Let's keep going. In case you did not know, it is harder than ever to grow on this platform. So please like and subscribe. It helps me out so much. On that note, I also am a professional singing teacher. I teach voice lessons for a living. Join my Discord server if you're interested in that kind of thing. I teach all the time. I'd be more than happy to give you a free assessment. It's totally free, 30 minutes, where you can get a good idea of where your voice is at, and we can game plan for the future from there. I also have a Patreon, I have memberships, I have a merch store, all kinds of ways that you can support this channel. Please consider supporting me. I would appreciate it so much. Thank you, and back to the video. Like, why are they so happy about this? Kind of crazy. But I guess they are dressed kind of like blood, dark. I guess they call it goth, horror, something. I don't know. Maybe you can explain it. Okay, so now you got the like carnival sound. Very different timbre. Oh, that's low. That's alto range. Oh, that's down where my voice is. That's a baritone range. This is clearly alto, low timbre. The big contrast in the sound that I'm hearing here is that this is a much more rich, more open sound than the other two singers that we're seeing higher were creating. This sounds a lot more like there's more space in the vocal tract in this area, the larynx, pharynx stuff. There's a little more space in there. That's why the voice has this kind of darker, richer kind of quality, or timbre as we call it. So yeah, definitely an alto sound. Big contrast to what we heard before, and the music kind of took on this almost like big band carnival kind of thing going on a little bit. Yeah, this is all over the place. I guess it is 3 different songs, so it would make sense, but it's hard for me to follow, so you guys have got to catch me up on what this is all about. It's catchy. Yeah, that's not very high at all. So yeah, when I hear that, I mean, I'm singing in my head voice, of course, but like that's her upper range. Like that's her singing in the upper part of her voice. The term is fach, F-A-C-H. I made a whole video about them long time ago. And it's not super relevant to modern music, but when we talk about that concept, it's like the class of voice you're in is based on your range. And yeah, I mean, this fach is like much lower than the others for sure, because the top end, where it sounds like she's really engaging the voice more and working more, is like lower than what the other two were singing. So yeah, she's definitely the alto of the group, no question. The head voice is being used a lot lower. That's head voice, right? The head voice is being used at a much lower range than the others. There's that bright, edgy sound. Changing. I know this isn't about the singing. This reminds me back when I was in like drama, like theater and stuff in school. They called it getting into sots. I don't remember what SOT stood for, but it was like we'd look down, like this. We just kind of like get into character and up, and we're in it. So this, I don't know, made me think of getting into sots back when I was in school. Like total character change when I went to the next part of the medley. I like her voice. This instrumentation's cool. It almost has like a neoclassical chord progression. I like this. Yeah, that's cool. Has a like Nobuo Matsu kind of sound. So she's my favorite singer of all of them so far, and this is my favorite part of the song. I think she's my favorite singer because I hear a really nice sense of legato or line linearity in her sound. It sounds really connected. The voice sounds really connected. The line sounds super consistent. And I always love that when I hear that in singers. I like her timbre, and I like the quality of the sound of the voice overall, and I like how fluidly she's moving up and down in the range. If I had to categorize a voice, I can't tell yet. I haven't really heard the upper of the range yet, but it sounds kind of like high alto, maybe low soprano type sound. But yeah, it's a really really fluid sound. It doesn't have that bright edginess. It's got a little bit more roundedness on the sound than the others. I like it. It sounds like a strong kind of mature voice. It sounds nice. I like it a lot. Okay, that's low. Yeah. What? I like this. The instrumentation, the chord progression. Yeah, this is good. Makes me want to jam out, you know. What does this mean? Like, it's all so weird. Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird. It's hard for me to even think about the vocals very much because all of this is so strange. Like, I guess that's the effect. I guess it's over here, right? Yeah, I mean, very cool. I've never looked at anything like this before. This is very different from anything I've ever seen. Like I've seen a few Japanese concerts of various kinds. I've never seen one of these like Japanese girl groups, and this just has this like slightly unsettling, like creepy, but like the sound is really nice. It's this weird juxtaposition of like the beautiful singing sound with this weird subject matter, and all of them have very unique distinctive voices. I would say the two on the outside have the most similar voices, and then the two in the middle are very different from the others. I think that the second from the left, I think she was my favorite of the four of them, mostly because the quality of the voice, mostly because it seemed the most balanced. It didn't go too far into one territory or the other. I like voices that kind of have like a balance, and they can show a lot of different vocal colors, and she used her head voice quite well. She moved up her range pretty well. All of them were good singers. I mean, I'm not saying that any of them were bad, but if I had to pick a favorite, I when I've seen other like groups, people always will want me to comment on who my favorite singer was. I've seen that in other comment sections and things. So yeah, I think that she was my favorite. But yeah, this is a really interesting performance. I've never seen anything quite like it. I hope this is informative. Usually my commentary is a little deeper than this, but this was it caught me off guard. I had no idea what to expect, and it was certainly not even what I could have tried to expect from it. Very interesting, unique stuff. If you have anything else from this group that is like not a medley, that's more representative of them as a collective, I'd love to hear it. Something where they really use the vocal harmonies more. I love analyzing that kind of stuff. But yeah, please let me know, because I definitely want to see more for sure. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope that this was somewhat informative. And yeah, I will see you all again next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.